Hello and welcome back to 90's Max, your podcast for all things Newcastle United, hosted by two lifelong Newcastle United supporting buddies, myself, D-Man, joined by my co-host Jefferson. How you doing, sir?
Yes, Mudgy. Good to be back in the house. You're looking mighty sharp, might I say, sir. Yeah?
Boy, you know what I mean? Been out and about, been out and about, parties and all that. Well, kids' parties, should I say, but,
I
I
see
try
the
my best.
shape up. I see it. I see you, brother.
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
you.
I thought I'd make the effort for you guys, man. You know we do. Long overdue. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we're joined today by a returning guest, Bulky. How you doing, sir?
Really good. Good to be back on with you two lads. Have a proper discussion about football, eh?
Yeah, pleasure
Oi,
to have
oi.
you on, my friend. Pleasure to have you on. But yeah, as usual, we're here to review the latest happenings with Newcastle United. Um, Not only did we get a sporting director in earlier this week, I think it was it this week or last week? Can't remember. Ross Wilson earlier
Might be
this
this
week.
week, was it?
Yeah, but we could discuss that a bit later. But we have to get through the nitty gritty, which is the latest game away at Brighton Hove Albion, our favourite stomping ground. You know, uh, a ground where we haven't won in God knows how many years since we've been back in the Prem. We haven't beaten them at their ground. Um, Big up Steve Bunce in the building.
Steve.
Said it
Steve.
looks like Mitchell was right about recruitment all along. We've done an Everton, I think. Okay, we'll get to that.
Steve, are you a long time supporter of the channel? Would be interesting to know.
Are you long time support Eddie Howe? That's what I want to know. But
And look,
it's
look who's in the chat. Look who else is in the chat.
big up Kante, man. Big up Kante. Yeah,
He's saying,
always there to crack the whip, shall we say, whenever there's a Newcastle loss. Big up Adrian in the building.
I like Adrian.
But yeah, man, listen, we travelled down to Brighton. Like I said, a game, venue where we don't have much joy. Am I right that we've only beaten them once since Eddie Howe's been manager? And that was the 4-1 or 4-0 when we qualified for the Champions League at home. Is that the only time?
23, yeah.
Wow.
Been a few
Wow.
draws and defeats. Oh, actually, no, there was the 2-1 at home.
Yeah?
Yeah, Fabian Cher. I think didn't Fabian Cher get the winner?
Right,
I
okay.
think it was
Okay.
23-24.
Okay. Okay.
I
Maybe
could be wrong though. I could be
I'm not
wrong.
sure. Not sure, maybe. But yeah, anyway, for those who don't know, yeah, it finished Brighton 2, Newcastle 1. Another defeat. Is that our third defeat in the season, league season this season? Is that right? Third defeat, yeah.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats.
And Norway victories. The positive, we scored away from home, lads. So we have to take the positives. We did finally get an away goal. But
Heck of a goal as well.
yeah, which we'll
Brilliant
I
get
mean, a
to as
goal
well.
like that should be worth 3. Like, do you know what I mean? Rather than just one goal, we need to like change the rules.
At least a point. But,
If you score a worldie, like you get an automatic bonus point or something like that. You know.
we would have still lost, bruv, given our the way we played. But anyway, um, but yeah, man. Quick summary of the game, Jefferson. We'll get into nitty gritty. What was your quick summary of the game itself?
It's just what I would describe it as is the chickens are coming home to roost now, and it feels like the output is getting less and less with each appearance. The team will try hard and run hard where they can, close gaps where they can, but gaps are also opening up. So we'll talk about that in a bit when we look into particularly the first goal. But I think it's a case of we've very much reached our limitations now. I think we've talked about this before. I think we're very predictable. There is no plan B or C essentially in terms of the patterns of play. So in other words, it's not extensive. And I think we had a huge sort of advantage this summer knowing what we needed to improve to get to the next level, i.e., signing more technical players who are better in possession. Now, it's quite interesting because we actually had more possession than Brighton in the game. That's the funniest thing. But we've got the same problems we've had for the past 3 years, which is, not being able to break through low blocks, unlock defenses. And there's only so much running around you can actually do. There's only so much energy you can have in a game. So I think all the chickens came home to roost there in terms of exposing our weaknesses that we still it feels like we haven't addressed. And when you're looking at the squad, despite spending 250 million, I'm not really seeing too much change. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a few tiny positives that we'll probably touch on, but for me now, I'm becoming really frustrated, and I don't know whether to scream or be upset or whether to just chill and just let the whole thing play out. But it feels like when I watch Newcastle United FC, every game is going to be rinse and repeat. Unfortunately, I know how we're going to play, what we're going to do, and potentially the outcomes. So anybody that doesn't know, we have a sweepstake with our partners, NUFC Talk TV, who are running that. And I predicted 2-1, and I was correct. And that's because this team is very, very predictable now.
Okay, before I get to you, Volky, we've got Steve responded. He said, I tried to support all channels. I had a feeling Mitchell might have known what he was talking about. We spent 260 million and we're absolutely dreadful. 2 wins in our last 10 Premier League games. Adrian, yeah, that was what I was talking about, the 4-1 that we did, that we beat Brighton. He said also, don't scream, Jeffers. Got the earbuds in. And then Steve said, we can't even take corners or free kicks. These are your bread and butter. How's not even cooking toast? Wow.
Well,
Okay.
he's using the lingo there.
All right. So Bulky, quick summary of the game itself. Like, I know Jefferson gave the overposition of Newcastle United, but quick summary of the game itself.
I think that the game itself, there was too many players had an off game, which can happen. But when it's your full midfield doing it, because I think it's probably the worst game I've ever seen Toon Army have forward. Bruno and Joe Linton weren't at the ballpark. The 2 wingers again were a letdown. Voltemada had an okay game. And the back 4, well, apart from Byrne, which I'm sure everybody knows my opinion on Byrne being a left back, but in regards to the back 4, at least they weren't. They did seem, even though we conceded 2 goals, they did seem a little bit more together. But in regards to this, it's not just this game that's the issue. It is, as Jeff has alluded to, it's an ongoing fault that we're not playing well. And we've had the couple of false dawns in the cup when we obviously played the Champions League and in the Carling Cup. But sorry, Carling Cup, that was a while ago. The
Coca-Cola Cup, don't you mean?
Coca-Cola Cup, Milk Cup, no, it's the Carabao Cup now, isn't it? We've had a couple of false dawns in the cup where we've obviously played lesser teams and got a good scoreline, but the overall this season, as I said, this game it was a poor game for Wind. If it had been just as a one-off, you would understand, but it's the pattern that's beginning to emerge now. That's the major concern.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. I mean, me personally, like you said, too many players had an off game, and it seems like, again, how struggles to adapt to technically gifted managers. Yeah, where they make changes in game. He doesn't seem to have that ability, and we've got that one style of play. When that doesn't work, we look very, very average. Now, like you said, the midfield had one of the worst games collectively that you'll see. Tonali had probably the worst game we've seen for a very long time. The 2 wingers. I'm not going to get too much onto Langa because we know he's not started the season well. He's not looked at all what the money that we paid for him. But my problem is Anthony Gordon. Yeah, you've done turned up for England in midweek. Yeah, scored a goal, but you come back here and you do absolutely nothing. You've done nothing for Newcastle for a very long time, and that's starting to concern me a lot now. Yeah. I thought Voltemade had a decent game. He had a good game, scored a very good goal. Yeah, and what impressed me about him is that he's now getting chances. Even if he's missing them, he's getting chances and he's in the box and he wants to score. Now, on the flip side, if he doesn't score, we don't score. Yeah, which has to be addressed. You know what I mean? So goals have to come collectively, especially until Wissa's back. And we're pinning our hopes on Wissa coming and not hitting the ground running, but getting up to speed very soon. You know what I mean? And that's not a guarantee. So again, you want to. These are the games that you want to show that you've pushed on. Like, we've never beaten Brighton at their home ground under Eddie Howe. The likes of Bournemouth, Brighton, and next week against Fulham, we need to start beating these teams. And the way we performed is there's some mitigating circumstances. I'm talking about the jet lag from the likes of Bruno and Joe Linton and stuff like that, and all the players on international duty. But we'll get to selection in a minute. But the fact that we played poorly for pretty much the whole game, I don't think we deserved anything out of the game. We were better in the second half, yes, but we couldn't get much worse, to be honest. And the worst thing is Brighton didn't really have to get out of third gear. So, and am I right in saying that I don't know if this is true, but I saw a tweet, I don't know if it was fake, that Eddie Howe's been given a warning from the owners about things needing to improve. I'm
Mm,
not sure if that's true or not,
there
but
was a tweet, but I just think it's not true on the basis we've seen how they let him select the director of football. I mean, if you're doing that, it shows how much power he has at the club. So
yeah,
I doubt he'll be on his, what do they call it? The vote of confidence. I
yeah.
doubt he's at that stage.
Yeah. Big up Kenny. He said Joe Linton was jailed before he started. Interesting. We'll get to Joe Linton as well. Steve Bunt said, say Matson was better than Elanga and Gordon doesn't care about Newcastle. He thinks he's better than since he started playing with England.
I agree.
Yeah. He also said Joe Linton was injured playing for Brazil. And we'll get to Joe Linton in a minute. Big up Brant in the building as well.
Man, like Brent, when you coming on, Brent? When are you coming on, my man? Because this guy speaks facts, and yeah, you need some airtime, my guy.
Where he
So
said
let us know.
the big six, including Villa, Bournemouth, Brighton, Everton, Palace, are all better than us. What about Sunderland? Because boy,
They're gonna
they're
deal with us the way it's looking like right
they're
now.
pulling up trees at the moment. But yeah, let's get to the lineup now, yeah, because um, I was interested to see what Eddie Howe did with the lineup, given the fact that we had quite a few players in international duty. The Brazilians, I think they were in Korea and stuff like that. They had a very long flights and stuff like that. I thought the way, obviously when we played Bournemouth, he made a lot of changes, right? Including benching Joe Linton and Bruno. This time he starts them, right? He starts pretty much everybody, even Alanga, who was on international duty. Murphy wasn't, which was strange to me. But what are your thoughts on the lineup, Bulky, when you saw it?
It seemed to be the easiest lineup that he could pick. Basically, he's went with what are his go to players. In regards to that, as you say, probably Murphy should have started right wing. But the midfield needed freshened up a little bit because I think both Bruno and Joe Linton, to be honest, could have started on the bench and then come on because, as you say, they had long flights. He hasn't really got much of an option up front as such. And Gordon, you're quite right on Gordon, but the problem is the only other option is Bonds, who hasn't been pulling up trees either when he's come into the squad. The only other thing I would say is that we've signed this keeper, paid him 120 grand a week because he's meant to be better at distribution. Surely now is the time that we should be testing him out, giving him a chance. Um, Pope does great at saving the ball. So if it's based on simply stop shotting, then yes, you're never going to take Pope out the team. But if you want a more progressive goalkeeper who can distribute the ball out properly, then you do take Pope out the team and you give Ramsdale a chance.
Okay, with the midfield, Jefferson, House came out and said that basically because Miley hasn't trained since he come back from injury, and Ramsey I think only had a couple sessions. Do you agree with that selection that he made, or would you have still put one or if not both of them to start the game?
No, I think Ramsey, because I think Miley got withdrawn from the under 21s, didn't he?
Yeah,
Because he had a few riggers. Fine, but Ramsey could have come in because apparently Ramsey was fit to make an appearance in the game before the international break, but they chose to give him that time to rest.
right,
So he would have probably been on some kind of program during that time. He'd be ready to go, even if it was for 60 minutes.
right.
So it kind of makes logical sense that you give Joe Linton the rest having after his long travel, and then you bring Ramsey in, which also may have sprung a surprise because I do wonder if teams they just know what the starting 11's going to be. So what you want to do every now and again is throw in a curveball so that
They
they
have
have
to
to
think.
adjust their
Yeah,
plans. Um, and I think what we have here is a problem of favoritism, essentially, where unless their leg is hanging off, you know, they're going to be picked every week. And that's a problem But then what we do is we look at the screaming obvious things. I'm trying not to scream for Adrian. Um, but yeah, when you look at the obvious things, right? Who's the best crosser of the ball, with the exception of Trippier, who's kind of off form at the minute? Who's the best
Murphy.
crosser of the ball? Murphy. And I believe we have a 6'6" striker, right? So why aren't we picking Murphy? How many assists did Murphy get last season? 14?
Yeah.
Why aren't we picking Murphy?
That was a strange one for me. And I've been an advocate to give Elanga a chance, but I can't defend it anymore. Like, end of the day, I didn't expect him to start this game. I thought that Murphy would start the game. Um, maybe, maybe he just doesn't know how to rotate effectively. I don't know,
We,
but
we gotta come to this at some point. We gotta
yeah,
come to this. Going back to the starting lineup again. What is this that Dan Burn must start by any means necessary? What is this?
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? He's not prime Roberto Carlos, so he
And teams
shouldn't
are
be in
targeted
the
him.
start.
They're targeting him. They're targeting
It's
him.
crazy, bro. Minte had him on toast.
Toast. Yep. Yep.
So protect the guy, protect your players, protect their confidence. So we hear a lot about Leo Shaha being highly rated. Take a risk, give him a go. Alex Murphy, he played some preseason games. I think he played in the cup, didn't he? Take some risks. I actually wouldn't have minded if we lost the game and Eddie took some risks, because then you can't have a go at him. It's like, you know what, guys, at least he tried something different. Get off his back. But with the rinse and repeat situation, he's making his own rope. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we've got a few big up Smokey's niche in the building. So good
Big up.
evening, Magpie, massive big up. Brad said Elanga needs to stay on the bench. Murphy's so much better right now. I also think Barnes should be starting on the left. I feel Barnes is better with Voltamada. Interesting. Big up our regular guy who hates
Yeah,
NUFC
man.
Chief, says sack Eddie Howe now and let Gordon go with him. Interesting. He said, yeah, Gordon had 70 touches in the game, one of the most. Yeah, what did he do with
Yeah,
those
but what's
touches?
he doing with it?
What's
Where's he
doing with the
going?
touches? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Pick up, Roy.
The King of Qatar. What's good? What's good?
It looks like there's a lot of people that don't like Eddie Howe in the building. Look, how's the type of guy
Yes.
that would waste time driving
I
between
told
his
you,
toes?
D-man, I'm starting my own cult, man.
Get on with it.
Let's have a cult off. Let's do it.
How could have played a grim, hard to beat 5-4-1 using squad players? Now, interesting, right? Because Brighton started with a 4-4-2. Right? Let's get into the game itself, right? Because I believe that we started off brightly. The first 10 minutes, we looked the better team. And I think Bruno should have done better with that chance that he snatched and he put this wide. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you expect a player of that standard to be able to get those sort of chances at least on target.
Right, exactly. And like I said, to be fair, we started brightly. We looked like we were a better team. We were playing with confidence. Brighton were playing, I believe, a 4-4-2, right? Then they switched to a 5-4-1, and then everything changed. Yeah, everything changed. They took a stronger hold of the game. They looked more threatening, and they started pressing. I think there was a bit of a danger before the goal came on the right hand side with Minte just causing Danburn hella problems. Yeah, and then the goal comes now on just before half time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, was
On
it
the 40th
41st
minute, yeah, something like that.
something?
Right now, what is it about? Listen, we've been great advocates for our midfield, right? Now, if you notice, it took one pass, yeah, that had all three midfielders in a line chasing back towards goal. Yeah. And then on top of that, then another through plus that cut open our centre backs. And what's funny is I was checking a few WhatsApp groups because I wasn't watching the game time, I was out. Two WhatsApp groups to comment on the game. They're talking about how good Malik Chow's like a Rolls Royce and our defence is so good, our centre back partnership is so good. Now, he's not to blame really for the goal, but the fact that there was a gap that big between the two centre back and
Where's the protection?
where's the
They need
protection?
the protection.
Well, true.
And a lot of that is the formation. Stop playing three midfield.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time. Everyone's been cussing Amarim for his stubbornness. Let's start cussing Eddie Howe. Real talk. How long do you need to know? Stop playing three in midfield.
Well, the thing is, Botman should have closed the gap a lot sooner, right? He's let Welbeck get ahead of him, whatever. But Is it me, yeah, or is it? First of all, Welbeck loves playing against us, right? He turns to the prime R9 when he plays against us, right? But how many goals do Brighton score when they just chip Nick Pope? There's dick the ball over him. I've seen that one too many times. Yeah, I'm not saying he was at fault for it, but it seems that it's like they've telegraphed it. They've telegraphed it every time. 1-0 down, and I personally thought game's over in it. Yeah, same old story. I think the best we could get was maybe a point, but a very disappointing goal to concede. Bulky, what's your thoughts on the actual goal itself?
Oh, the goal was disappointing. Man, the first one I wanted to pick up on was the point that you made there about Brighton. That after 10 minutes, the scene things weren't working, and their coach was able to switch things around on the pitch and change things up because he realised what was going wrong. And inadvertently, you've made a great point that Newcastle can't do that. Oh, sorry, I'll correct myself. Eddie Howe can't do that. If the in-game management is really poor, and you keep seeing people come back saying, oh, that yeah, we agree his in-game management's wrong, but he'll learn. He needs time to develop. He's been a Premier League manager for 7 years.
Longer than that. Longer
Longer,
than that.
longer than that.
9 years. 9 years.
9 years, is it now? So he doesn't need time to develop. If he's not there now, he's never going to get there. And I
Right.
think that's a big part of it. The problem is he's in-game style. And the other point I'd make as well with the goal is that if you look at the way we're set up, the midfield was so far away from the back four, it was unreal. There was just and we know we've got an issue at left back. We know that problem's there, but yet he's still. Again, if it wasn't the tactics, then he should have been shouting back to say, "Look, to get 10, 15 yards more back and protect your back four," because you could see on the pitch the massive gap between the three midfielders and the back four.
Just to elaborate some of these comments, Smokey's niece said Gordon and Elanga, not good finishers, let alone shooters. So far, Chow and Voltamada are good buys.
Yeah.
And Howe's a good coach, but he's buying not ready-made players. And Roy said Benfica and Fulham are vital for his own sake. He's only got himself to blame if he gets the sack. And we'll get more into Eddie Howe in a bit. But like I said, we go 1-0 down into the break. We're 1-0 down. We come out and we look a lot better, right? We start creating chances. I think Eddie Howe made the substitutions. Was it at halftime made the substitutions? Was it?
Yeah,
Alanga came off and Joe Linton.
yeah. He made
Yeah.
He made 45-minute substitutions. Yeah,
Yeah, which we criticised Eddie for not being reactive enough time. The typical 60-minute substitution. So maybe give him a bit of credit for seeing there was an issue and I've admitted that what he started with wasn't right and made the changes, and they seem to make a difference. Right, we've got more control of the game with Miley in midfield. Right, and Alanga, which we'll get to, wasn't having the best of games. And Murphy, it's his spot. It should be his spot to lose, but he's come on and we create the chances, and then I think it was the 74th minute or something like that. We get the equaliser. Now Murphy had a hand in it. I think he passed it to, I can't remember who it was, Bruno. I think who shred through to Miley. Miley cuts it across, and does this guy score simple goals? Baltimore, because what a finish! What a finish! Yeah.
What goal was filthy. Filthy.
Absolute filth, and that's what his fourth league goal, is it? Fourth league goal,
Yeah,
five
and I
five
think
and all
5 and 6, yeah.
you
So
know what
he's
as well
clearly
that
in
that
form.
that goal was just natural to him as well. It wasn't as if he was, trying to do something sublime. It just was his natural reaction to score that goal.
Yeah,
Is
And
yeah,
Miley close to the goal. I've said it so many times that he needs to be closer to the goal. I think he's got that bit of quality in the final third. We've seen it a few times on occasions. The weight of pass is simply perfect for Voltemada to do whatever he wants to do with it. So I'm hoping there's lessons learnt there. And I feel like I said it in the group. If we're looking at the setup, you need 4 in midfield. I actually think we can play the AC Milan style diamond where you've got Tonali at the base of it. So he's got more time on the ball from deep. He can be a deep line and playmaker. Bruno to the right of it because he's very strong in that right-hand channel of central midfield. It depends. If you want to go attacking, you have a Jacob Ramsey as that left-sided central midfielder. Willett can come on. Joe Linton can play if you want to be a bit more, defensive. And then at the tip of the diamond, you could actually have Miley. I think we should go with four in midfield, and you can always switch it up when Visser comes in. Visser takes the striker spot. Voltamada can play the 10 as well in that slot there. But there's options there. We're just not using it. We're too rigid.
Okay. Just on Voltamada, Boki, like how many league goals do you think he's capable of getting? And do you think also the introduction of a Visa eventually will help him or hinder him?
In regards to league goals, I think with the way he's playing at the minute, he's probably a 10, 15 goal a season type of guy. In regards to when Wissa comes in, I think it might actually go back a little bit. I think it might be 10 goals a season. And the reason I say that is I think he'll end up, as Jeff has said, a little bit further back. And and I don't think he's a greedy player from what I've seen of him so far.
Yeah,
He'll happily help set up. I think if he's playing with Wissa, I think Wissa will score a hell of a lot of goals because that lad will set him up a hell of a lot of chances.
yeah, yeah.
And as Jeff says, if you take one of the midfielders out and you're playing that diamond with him at the pinnacle and then Wissa up front, I think that's a hell of a combination moving forward.
True. The way he's going at the moment, they might even put Visser on the left because our left wingers ain't doing nothing. They might put him on the left and have Voltamada up front. You never know, but we'll see. It'd be a good option to have.
At the minute, D-Man, I'd have him as left back, to be honest, rather than
Something's got to change. Something's got to change. Steve said something I've noticed is that our players don't look like they're enjoying their football, and the vibrant energy we saw earlier in House Rain has completely gone.
Yeah.
Big up Michael in the building. He said sometimes we need to play for the point. Chase to win 3 games now. Liverpool, Arsenal, and Brighton, and lost all 3. And that's an interesting one because obviously, like I said, I wasn't watching the game at the time, but when we got to 1-1, I just thought, you know what, protect the point. Protect the point. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. We haven't lost, right? Considering the way the first half went as well. But obviously, we still kept on pushing and kept on pushing. And we created up a few opportunities and stuff. What do you think about the handball shout? Do you think that should have been given, or do you think that would have been harsh if so?
I think if the ref doesn't make the call on the pitch, then okay, you can't. It was because you've questioned it like that. It's not a clear and obvious error.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I think if it had been given, I don't think it would have been overruled by VAR.
Yeah.
But I think if it's not given, then you can't really question it because, as I said, it's not a clear and obvious error.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously the dagger comes, soon before the 90 minutes. They're driving forward, and Dan Burn, I thought, made a great tackle. But again, the rest of them slow to react, and there's Welbeck again to slot it. Good finish, by the way.
Heck of a finish.
Yeah, to slot it in, and condemn us to defeat and that. But Welbeck again, brace again, loves playing against us. But what were your thoughts on the goal itself, Jefferson, that we conceded?
Well, I mean, you just think, is it the shape? Have we been dragged in? Because even though we're making a good challenge, we're committing. Sometimes you've got to stay on your feet a bit more, just kind of block the shape, make it harder, build a wall. So maybe we're a bit rash because obviously when you head towards the direction of the ball or the players attacking you, gaps open up. And then it means that there's no one on the edge to pick up the pieces of the periphery kind of sweeping up, and then we're all Johnny on the spot waiting to see what happens as the ball kind of trickles out following the challenge. So again, it's stuff to learn, but I think it's all about the setup. How much anticipation is there? We've seen it with Tonali before, where he would make those sweeping runs, kind of come round out of nowhere. Historically, we've seen Tino sweep up as well. I think Tino is definitely a loss there, but I think sometimes you don't have to go in for the challenge. Just build a bit of a wall. Don't get me wrong, you see it where people take shots and it deflects in and stuff like that. But I just think, look, I won't take it away from Welbeck. Heck of a finish, but ever so frustrating because it takes the sting out of the tail for us when, I don't know, it looked like we were having a little spell towards the end where we were getting a bit more confident.
Okay, so that defeat, it now leaves us afterwards. It leaves us in 13th place. I think we're something like 4 points off relegation or 5 points off relegation zone, whatever it is. But let's talk about some of the performances themselves, right? Because let's start with Joe Linton, yeah? Because I've been saying, I think Jefferson, you agreed that if we're gonna evolve as a team, you know, we need to get past this bully boy, physical thug tactics that we employ, right? And Joe Linton, listen, the work that Eddie Howe done with him, fantastic. You know, we all know the story about him. You know, going from striker to where he is now, and you know, being one of our better players, player of the season, one season as well, maybe 1 or 2 seasons. But he lacks that technical ability. You know, if we want to control games, he's not that guy. He doesn't give enough goals. You know, we all know about him, his inability to head the ball in front of goal, right? You know, he can't shoot. He can't really shoot. So his passing ain't the best, whatever. And also, he was. I know he might have been carrying injury. He got injured in international duty, but he's had a poor season to date, right? So, what's your thoughts on him, his performances yesterday, and his season so far, and where do we go from here? Is it time Ramsey gets that start, and it's his place to lose? I'll start with you, Jefferson.
Obviously, J7's always been one of my favorite players. He brings the passion, he brings the power, the energy, and when we have our big games, he rises to the occasion normally, and I like that he plays on the edge. He's kind of like one of us out there on the pitch, but I think it's got to the point where the team is looking to evolve, and I'm sure Tonali looks to the side of him and thinks, come on, you can do better. I need someone who I can trust to give the ball, hold it, give it back, or even take it on. I think in possession, we can be better. And like you said, we need someone to kind of add those goals. Could Ramsey be that guy? Maybe. It would be good to see Ramsey have a run in the team if he can stay fit. But the key was going into the summer, we knew that Joe Linton, if there was somewhere to improve the first 11, Joe Linton was going to be one of those players, and we haven't done that, in my opinion. Obviously, we've been heavily linked with Sunset. I don't know if we'll go in for him in January. It'll be interesting to see him when we come up against Bilbao. But in respect of Joe Linton, it's been a disappointing season so far. He looked off the pace in pre-season as well. Everybody remembers sort of 15-year-old Max Dowman sort of dancing around him. So I think pre-season's been the precursor for this season. It's told us a lot about what's going on. So yeah, I think we might need to kind of change things up and look to start Ramsey if possible, or tweak the shape in order to get Miley in there.
Similar question to you, Bulky, but I'll also add this. Do you think, given the whole situation with Isak, right, and how he left the club and whatnot, but as a fan base, we respect loyalty and passion for the badge, right? Now, Bruno and Joe Linton give that in abundance, right? And even with their tweets, they say how much they love the place. They feel like mini magpies and stuff like that, even with their children and stuff like that. Do you think that maybe gives Joe Linton that sort of like, I won't say comfort, but Eddie's not really going to, do him dirty, should I say, because he's loved by the fans. He's got that passion. He's got that kind of thing. Do you think that plays a part in it?
I think we'll probably move on to this in a little bit, but I think a strong manager, that doesn't play any part whatsoever. A strong manager plays his best team. There's no room for sentimentality in the team selection. I think, as Jeff has said, from the end of last season coming into this season, we knew Joe Linton. He'll always put a shift in for you, and he'll always do a job, and he'll always try his best. But he has lost a little bit of pace, and he has had a few injuries. And I got shot down for this over the summer quite a bit because I says in his position, that should be the position that we went in for and paid a little bit more than we did for Ramsey, but bought somebody who would be a first team starter. And what you've got to remember that, because everyone was going, oh no, but you need to replace someone on the bench. What people forgot was that if you put Joe Linton, if you got a replacement for Joe Linton, Joe Linton drops to the bench, so he then becomes your bench player, and you've got a new midfielder who's maybe a little bit more to it. So I would never come on here and call Joe Linton completely, because I think he's been a great servant since Howe came in and he got pushed back into midfield. But I do think he is the weak link in midfield now. I think that's the area where he should. And to be honest, if we drop down to two midfielders and change the formation, we don't really have to look to put somebody else in there. We're obviously just move the team around a little bit.
Okay, I want to get through some of these comments because they're coming thick and fast. But
Steve's coming up with some fantastic points.
But smash the likes, people, man. Get the likes count up. Helps the channel grow. It affects the algorithm and all that. We want to get bigger, bring some more content. More guests on and so on and so forth. But we came back to some of these content. We are going to get to Eddie Howe, but there's a lot about Eddie Howe. Some supporting, some not.
Queenie, what's going on?
Howe's in-game management is about as much use as a petrol in a fireman's hose. All right. Kenny said, 3.5 years with the Toon, Howe saved us, then got us Champions League, then 7th, then a cup and Champions League, and people saying he's a bad coach.
No, he's not a bad coach. He's just an average coach. That's the problem. So the issue is he's going to be the victim of his own success. I feel he's taken us as far as he can go, and that's okay. Sometimes the story has to end, and the club has to push on. Remember, it's about Newcastle United. It's not about Eddie Howe. And
I agree with that.
This is where fans are losing their way a little bit for me.
But I agree with that.
He's not a relative. I don't owe him anything.
I just think he needs to be given the season. I'm not saying he's going to pull up to
Why?
No, because at the end of the day.
So let's be devil's advocate. Let's be devil's advocate. The season, let's just say we get to the second round in the Champions League, which would be fantastic, by the way. Yeah. But we finish 8th or 9th in the league. No Europe. What do you think happens? We lose Tonali. We potentially lose Voltemada.
Yeah, true.
We might even lose Botman.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is... No, but hold on. What I'm saying is, but then we could finish 8th or 9th, but still be in a shout for 5th or 6th with for 5th or 4th. Hold on. No, hold on. If we're 4 points off 5th place with 32 games gone, yeah? Are you going to sack him? There and then.
On the basis of him spending £250 million,
hold on.
We were 5th. So if you spend that money,
what I'm saying is, hold on. What I'm saying. No. Hold on a minute. If we're 4 points off 5th with 32 games to go, so there's still a strong possibility that we could get 5th place. You're going to sack him there and then.
No. In my opinion, he would be. No, in my opinion. Whatever happens is that there's going to be like a turning point, unless it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, if it's the same way it is now, he has to be gone by December.
Right, but don't get me wrong.
The reason I say that is there's no point letting it continue, which means you have to go to the end of the season. And that's a massive risk for a club.
I hear that. Yeah, I hear that. If it gets that bad, because let's be honest, if we continue the form that we are now,
he has to go.
No, we have to, because we'll be in a relegation zone. We will be. We'll be in a relegation zone.
People have to remember, it's
but
not just about now.
What I'm saying is, I don't think it's going to get that bad. But what I'm saying is, I'd like to give him the season and then see where we are then, right? But you said hold a minute. You just said about the 250 million that we spent, right? Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool have all spent more than us, yeah, and I'm sure there's more teams as well that spent more than us, right? So there's no guarantee that you should be getting those places, right? And hold a minute, yeah. We bought our Isak replacement wasn't Voltemar, it was Visser, right? He has not kicked the ball for us this season. So I'm not.
He's going to come and score 20 goals.
I'm not saying. Listen,
we've got to stop thinking the cavalry's going to arrive.
I'm not saying he will. Comes back. I'm not saying will. I'm saying this is why you can't just say we spent 250 million. He has to get top 4, top 5. There is no. It's not given what everybody else has spent. Yeah, it's not based on money. It's the fact that now you could say now it's his team. Then maybe he should be doing the bare minimum for this, that, and the third, right? But you can't get based on money spent, bruv. You can't, because teams have outspent us. Sunderland outspent us, bruv.
the trajectory is not looking good, D-man, because
I agree. I agree.
so this is what I'm saying. You can't say give him to end of the season because you can see where it's going. The
Yeah, yeah,
pattern is telling you
yeah.
we're
But
in regression,
bruv, we
and
remember,
we've got to stop making
I take you back,
excuses. We
and
have to
I
stop.
take you back to last season when I was one of the ones that wanted him gone. Yeah, when we was on that slump. I think it was Brentford where it was when we lost that game. I thought, you know what, this ain't going to get any better. Yeah, let's cut our losses and get rid of him now. Me, you, and AC were all wrong. Wherever you want to cut, however you
It's
want
a
to cut it up.
miracle. Is that
No,
going to happen every year,
I'm not saying
D-man?
it's going. I'm not going to say it's going to
We
happen
can't
every
wait
year.
for a
No,
miracle.
but we were wrong last season. That's why I'm saying he exceeded our expectations. Give him the time to get things right. If he doesn't, like I said, by Christmas, hold on,
D-man, since the
whoa.
cup,
No,
it's been a
no,
decline,
listen. No,
factually.
no, listen to me. What I'm
Go
saying
on.
is, if it continues up until Christmas, I agree he needs to go. I personally don't think it's going to get that bad, but we will see. We will see. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
If you look at this, we can't say a wait and see situation because right now, from what we've seen, we can't trust him with money. He spent 45 million on Villa's fourth choice midfielder. Yeah, the best buys have been Tiao, who was foreign, and by the way, Paul Mitchell suggested him last year, but due to Eddie's Brexit obsession with like English players, right?
He wanted Mark
We went for
Gahey.
Gehi. Why didn't we get Tiao last season?
No, we should have
And
done.
then
We should have done.
Voltemada, you can't tell me Voltemada was top of his list, bro.
No, no, of
He
course he wasn't.
wasn't, right?
Of course he wasn't. But he bought him.
So this is what
He's
I mean.
here. He's here now.
The Premier League proven players are doing nothing.
I hear that.
This
I hear
pet
that.
project, Gordon,
No,
is
no, no, no,
doing
no, no.
nothing.
I
The
hear that.
favoritism
No,
is
I get it.
hampering us.
I get it, yeah. But with the Voldemort thing, we can only speculate who signing that was. But the fact of the matter,
Oh,
he's been signed.
come
No,
on,
no,
D
no,
man.
no, no, no. I
Come on.
don't say. I'm not
Come on.
saying I'm saying you're wrong. But the fact is, he's been signed under Eddie Howe's regime. That's all we know. That's the only fact that it is. Yeah, that's the only fact that we know.
Everyone knows it's the
He's
Nick
worked
signing.
out.
Come
Yeah.
on. We know his blueprint.
Let's see what Visser does. Yeah, when he comes in, if he gets around. The only to me personally, the only one that's looking like a bad signing under the whole Howe regime is
Elanga.
Alanga at the moment. Yeah, it's
And
Alanga.
that was definitely
But
his man.
but yeah,
That was definitely his man.
but then you have to give him credit for all the other ones that's worked. Yeah, you have to give him credit. If you're going to give Alanga, slate Alanga, the rest of them, they've all worked.
Give him
Now,
whatever credit you like. We've
right.
been poor. 2
Well,
wins,
I'm not
3 draws,
disputing that.
3 defeats,
I'm not
right?
disputing that. But what I'm saying is now there's no thing to sack him now, right now.
No, I'm not saying right now, but I'm as Roy mentioned, 3 games. D-man, I gave him 12 games. We're getting close to that now. And I told you, and you thought I was ludicrous. I said to you, first 6 games, we're only going to get 5 to 6 points. And I was correct. We are a poor
We've all made
side.
mistakes.
We have regressed.
We all make mistakes. You said we'd lose the first 2
We
games.
have
We all make
regressed.
mistakes. We all make mistakes.
We have regressed to a mid-table team, and I think that's being really kind
I'm not
because
disputing that, bro.
I'm going to let Boki come in a second. The sides we've beaten are Forest, who have had a really poor season,
Jefferson.
Wolves, who have been abysmal.
I am
What are the
aware
positive signs?
of all that. What I'm saying
So that
is,
means he has to go.
no, like I said,
How much more time does he
no.
need?
So you're telling me sack him now?
I think next 3 games.
No,
If we don't
are you
get a
saying
result
sack him now?
against
I'm saying
Benfica,
you said
who we got next? Who we got next?
Jefferson. Listen to me. You said sack him now.
If he
Jefferson,
got now,
I've let you speak. Let me speak.
Go on.
You said sack him now. Yeah, I'm saying do not sack him now. It's
okay, so
ludicrous.
you also said keep him to the end of the season.
No, give him the season. But what I also said, if it continues like this up until Christmas, I agree.
Well, what one is it, D-man? You
No.
can't play both.
I don't.
Go with one.
No,
is it Christmas?
Are you
Is it
listening
end
to
of
what I'm saying?
season?
Okay.
What is it?
Let me speak. Listen. Jefferson, I said I believe you should give him the season because I believe it will get better.
The season.
But
you've heard it here, people.
No. Listen. But if it doesn't, if I'm wrong and it doesn't, sack him. Is that hard to understand?
Okay.
Right. Boki. Let me go to Boki. Boki, what's your thoughts on it?
I kind of agree with both of you, which is part of the problem. You've put such a good argument forward, which is, I think if it had just been this season, D-man, that this had been happening, so if it had just been like the start of this season, you can turn around and say it's just a bad start of the season. We'll turn it around, but it's a carry on from the end of last season. It carried on from the end of last season. It carried on through the pre-season. And it's carried on till now. I'm still not an advocate completely of sacking Eddie Howe, But as Jeff has said, I think it does have to start to come into the discussion. And I understand fans love Eddie because he won with a cup, first cup we've had in 70 years, things like that. But it's not a you shouldn't be shot down in flames for saying you think that he can go at some point. It will happen. It's going to happen. And if it keeps going like it is at the minute, and things don't improve over the next couple of games, if say we lose a couple of two of the next three, I think there has to be serious questions asked. And to be
Bokey,
honest, if we
Bokey,
do that, I think he needs to go.
Bokey, can I ask you a question? If it was, like it's looking like it's Sean Dyche at the moment. If Mancini had gone to Forest, honestly, how would you have felt, bro? I would have been so angry because we need to be all over that right now. That's a manager available that's won the Premier League, the FA Cup, Serie A, and the Euros. That's the level of manager we need at the club right now. There should be no sentiment. It's about the club and it's about the results you get. And there's nothing wrong in saying, thank you very much for what you've done for us, but we're moving in a different direction now.
Jeff, as I always ask the question the other way around. So flip it. If we didn't have a manager at the minute, who would you and D-Man choose between Mancini and Tell? Would you want
It's a very
Mancini to come
easy
in
choice.
and how to come in?
It's a very easy choice.
Oh
And,
yeah,
and
of
we,
course.
and,
Me
we,
as
and
well.
listen, we know why Eddie's here. We know the circumstances, what happened, and everything like that. And to be fair to Eddie, it's not about not giving him credit. This is what people don't realize. I give him credit. He surprised everybody. The problem is we've accelerated so fast. We're ahead of the timetable, but it doesn't mean we should stagnate and give time and go back. We're here now and we want to stay here. And it's all about the ambition of the club. So I don't see other clubs running like this where they're getting to select who the director of football is and all this sort of stuff. It just feels like we're running, we're not running the right way. And I do worry for the future because it's built like a sandcastle. Anything can blow it down. So when we're like, give him time to the end of the season, I'm thinking, are people thinking ahead to what happens next season? Because if we don't get Europe and particularly Champions League, not only do we not get the revenue we need, because we're always up against it with PSR, if we want to push on, we don't get the revenue, but we also might risk losing top players, which I'm sorry to say, you take Voltemada, Botman, and potentially Tonali out
Tonali.
of the team, we become a very ordinary team
I personally
overnight.
think. I personally
So
think
what does that
Tonali.
matter?
I
Is it
personally
those
think. I
players
personally
or is it
think that.
Eddie Howe?
I
What
personally think.
matters more?
I personally think Tonali's gone into the season regardless. I don't think he stays.
I don't know, D-Man. If you've got a Roberto Mancini or a top quality manager, I think he stays because the ambition changes, bro. The ambition of the club,
Yeah,
like
but
you're speaking
yeah.
volumes when you get a top caliber manager in. I'll give you an example. I left it earlier in the group today. I don't know if everyone watched. I'm sure everyone did that Salford City documentary, right? Where they had Jono and Bernard, the they had a joint management team, and they got Salford promoted like up 3 divisions. Why? Because they had a lot of discipline. They shouted at them. They got the players fit. They got their attitude right. You can liken that to what Eddie Howe did with us after Steve Bruce. He got us fit. He got us mentally focused. We moved up in terms of our standing in the league, qualifying for Champions League, all that stuff. But what happens is when you meet your level, you're stuck. You keep hitting your head against the brick wall. So they had to release Jono and Bernard. But they thanked them for all the promotions they did for them. And they had to get in, I think, Gary Bowyar, who got them promoted to the EFL. And then they got rid of him. And they got. So do you get what I'm saying? You have to move through the levels. It's not a game where you're playing football manager and it's like, yeah, I've got to stick with them. It's like, you got to keep it moving. Where's the progression? If you look at Chelsea, if you look at Man City, yes, they didn't have PSR restrictions, but they still weren't afraid to sack managers. Even look at Claudio Ranieri at Leicester. He won the league. He had a bad run of form. It was none of this, but he's got credit in the bank. Let's give him more time. It was, these results are unacceptable. Thank you for winning us the league, but you have to go.
Okay. Before question, if he loses 4 games in a row, should he go?
Yeah.
Okay. Bulky, should Arnie Slot be sacked?
I think that's a different question in
I'm
regards to.
joking. I'm joking.
No, but it is a good point because sort of a manager. a manager is there to obviously take the flack and things like that. I think the big issue we've got up here now is that with with a lot of fans, he cannot be criticised in any way. You cannot say anything about Eddie Howe because obviously he's broke that duck and he's won World Cup, and
By the way, big
everything's just set around him being sort of
big
a
up
hero.
PDK, big up PDK in the building. Yeah, but all right. Now that I hear what you're saying, But for Bulky, what does Eddie Howe have to achieve, in your opinion, for him to be able to keep his job?
It's simple. Champions League football, top five, four upwards. You know, we're a big. This is I think part of the problem is we're a big club now, but fans aren't recognising that. We've spent a hell of a lot of money this summer, and to do that, to move on as a club, you've got to progress, not regress. So you've got to do better than you did last season. So a cup's a cup win, so you can't expect to win a cup every year. So I'm not going to say he's got to win something, but the simple thing I would say is that he's got to finish in the league position that he was in last year or above.
Okay. Do you think that we are better than Villa and Spurs?
Well, we should be. He's
No.
went into Villa and he's signed one of their players. So if he's going in there,
But like Jefferson said, that's their fourth best midfielder. So,
but exactly that's the problem. Why didn't he sign the first best
Why didn't he
midfielder
sign
or
a
the
better
second
player?
best midfielder? Yeah,
would they come to us?
Why go in and sign a
would
team?
Morgan
They
like
would if we didn't have Eddie.
fourth best
He's got
player?
no pull.
You
He's
think
got no pull.
Rodgers will come to Newcastle?
I think if you offered anybody enough money, they'd come. This is another thing that's I think turned into a bit of myth now. You will get players that want to play in London, granted, but I think the difference for players playing Villa, Liverpool, Newcastle, in regards to the lifestyle they have, they're not out in public nowadays. They've got their own little lives, like behind closed doors. So they don't go out, sort of socialise. It's not like the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, where they would be out in the big market having pints and things like that. They simply don't do that sort of thing now. So I think where they live now, it isn't such a massive issue, apart from the weather, maybe.
Okay. I want to get to some of these comments. Kenny said we're 5 points off fifth. You're glass half full type of guy, Kenny. I see that.
Last time I checked, fifth ain't Champions League though.
No, it will be. We got fifth last season, and fifth with the coefficient, we're probably going to get it again. Let's be honest.
Let's see.
So what you say? You should get fourth.
No, but I'm saying at the moment, until they declare it,
Okay,
fifth
so
shouldn't be the target. It's fourth.
Fourth. So
Yeah, let's not lower the bar.
So hold on a minute. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs. You're going to finish above one of those. Oh, sorry, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and City.
So I just want to check something. Where did we finish last season?
Fifth.
And how much did we spend this summer?
Less than the rest.
So our target. No, I think we're the third highest spenders, weren't we? Fourth.
What? Arsenal spent more than us.
Yeah, we
Liverpool
were.
spent more than us.
We're the third
City,
or fourth highest
City
spenders.
spent more than us. Didn't Chelsea spend more than us?
I think we're the third or fourth highest spenders, weren't we?
Have we got?
In saying that, the idea is we've spent to improve the squad.
No, I get it. But have we got
the target should be four.
No. But just question: have we got better squads than those four teams?
No, and whose fault is that?
No, I'm just asking. Have we got?
Yes, D-man, can I just
ask Andy Howe and Eddie Howe? They're liable for
No,
it.
we haven't. So we haven't.
Can I just pick up on this point that people keep putting in, saying that we're 5 points off fourth? We're less than a quarter of a way through the season. If we're 5 points off fourth at this point, by the end of the season, we're going to be 20 odd points off fourth.
No, I hear
it. You know what the sort of
the
users are saying you'll catch up.
But my thing is, I don't think we can expect to finish above those four teams. That's all I'm saying. I think fifth will get Champions League, so maybe fifth. I can argue with that. Fourth, we're not getting fourth. Even if Mancini with that squad, we're not getting fourth. So it's not happening. Fifth, we need to be looking at fifth.
If Eddie can get fifth, how can Mancini not get fifth with that squad?
No, fourth. I said he can't get fourth.
Why can't he get fourth?
Because their squads are better than us, bruv. Those squads are better than us.
He's won the Euros, bruv.
Yeah, but I'm saying if he comes in now with this squad, he's not getting us the fourth place, bruv. He's not.
So wait, but Eddie was able to get us fourth place after taking over from Steve Bruce. Taking over from Steve Bruce.
Yeah, but bruv.
So you're telling me that Eddie's better than Mancini then, is he?
You're not listening to what I'm saying, bruv.
Okay.
Look at the squad that they have now, Jefferson. I'm not going about 3-4 years ago,
Eddie did it with a worse squad, D-man.
No, but look at the squad that they have, not us, brother. They. Look at
Right.
Chelsea, City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Those squads now. How many squads are we better than now? Of those four,
I'd say we're
go
sixth,
on, go
maybe.
on. Huh?
I'd say we're maybe sixth.
And I asked about four of those squads. So you're saying fourth place should be getting? No.
No, but
Anyway, let's.
after spending 250 million,
But
yes, we
I
should be
said,
in with a shout of
but
it.
they got better squads and they spent more. So no,
But
it doesn't.
whose fault is that?
No, but you're saying
No, I want you to admit it,
no,
D-man.
no. I
We
admit
had
no,
the
no.
money. Whose fault is it? You can't
We
you
had,
can't say on one end, oh, but we haven't got these squads. But we had the whole summer and all the money in the world after selling
no,
Isak to spend.
no, we didn't. We had 250 million.
That's
We
a lot
spent
of money.
it's a
That's
lot of money.
quarter of a billion pounds.
What you understand is the other clubs spent more, Jefferson, and they have better squads, Jefferson. So by that right, they should be finishing above us. Yes or no?
Not necessarily,
No,
no.
no, no, nothing's guaranteed, but they
Not
should be
necessarily. For
finishing up.
example,
Is
Chelsea
it?
spent money on Delap. Have you seen Delap banging in goals?
He's injured.
They
So
spent
Wissa.
on João
No,
Pedro. Has João Pedro been banging in goals? He's got 2 goals.
they've got a better squad,
That
Jefferson.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
What do you mean? It doesn't matter.
We
Squads.
we've if I'm correct, we've succeeded with having a smaller squad.
I hear what you say, but Jefferson, listen. Like I said, listen to what I'm saying. Nothing is guaranteed. Yes or no?
Nothing is guaranteed. Yeah,
Right. That's all I want to understand. So, but if you go into a season with a better squad and spent more money, you'd be expected to finish above us, no? And you're those four teams. Forget the low team. If you're Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and City, you're expected to finish above Newcastle. Yes or no?
most likely.
What do you mean, are you expected to finish above us? Yes or no?
Yeah, most
Okay.
likely. Most
Well,
likely.
that's all my point. But anyway, big up Mikey the building. He said salute the 90's Max. Right?
But the reality is though,
Yes,
D man, like
I,
we can make all the
I
excuses we
hear
want,
it.
right?
It's not an excuse.
I,
I just want to answer the question.
I've got to say this though, because this is factual things. It's not ifs and buts. In the last 3 seasons, we've finished 4th, 7th, and 5th. So, okay, that's probably what 5.5. So you could argue we're a top 6 side. Like
Yeah.
this is where we're expected to finish. And that's remember behind the rigors of we weren't able to spend blah blah blah. Now we've spent. So why are we then moving the goalposts again to make an excuse?
What's the goalpost I've moved? I said fifth. What's the
We're
goalpost?
talking about other teams and
No,
stuff.
no, but I said fifth. What's
We've
the
spent
goalpost? Wait,
250 million, D-man.
Jefferson. I said fifth. What's the goalpost I'm moving?
Bruv, we got a
I
70 million pound centre forward.
I haven't made any goalpost. I said fifth.
Okay.
Okay, that's just so we're clear. I said fifth. So I don't
Fifth,
know what you're going on
okay.
about. But anyway, let's go.
Are we gonna get there? That's the
I
question.
don't know. Because you said top 4 and said that's not realistic. I said fifth. But anyway, big up King Cam in the building. He said we did not perform to the end of last season. Very rare. Big up Irish Assassin. Big up. Smokey,
Evening.
this season is Hal's fate for me. It hurts me to say, but we haven't elevated. We do look a little stale. Something needs to change. Now, what I will say, if you think Eddie Howe should be sacked now, slap a like in the
I like that. I like that.
Just to see,
But you know that's not gonna work because
just
if
to test temperature.
we got a cult of how people, they're not gonna
Okay,
put a like, are they?
if you don't think Howe should be sacked,
If you
you've
love
got a like,
Eddie, give us a like.
Big up Queenie in the building. Big up Queenie. But listen, all right. I was going to go to more performances, but you know what is that the whole team just didn't perform. Like first of all, now let's talk about Anthony Gordon in it because I don't think we talk about this guy enough. Right? What's his problem, Bulky? What's his problem?
I really don't know. I think part of the problem is that towards obviously the end of last season, this season, the very start of this season, he was played out of position by Eddie as a striker, which he isn't. He's never going to be a striker as long as I'm alive, basically. But in regards to him as well, I think we've got a major problem with the way all the wingers have been bought in that we don't actually have any winger with a left foot. So every winger, both right and left, Bonds, Murphy, Elanga, and Gordon are all right-footed, and it's because Eddie wants the left side. It seems Gordon especially to cut in and be at the back post more, and it doesn't seem to be Gordon's particular forte. If you watch him I think part of the thing is when we're on about him for England playing a different game than he does for Newcastle, it's because when he plays for England, Tuchel seems to have him stuck to the line. He's actually playing as a winger. He's out wide. Whereas with Newcastle, Eddie seems to pull him inside a little bit more, and he seems to want to have it so that down the right hand side, that's where the wing play is done and the ball comes in, and Gordon's sort of the cut insider and the back of it. As I say, I don't think I don't think Gordon's particularly playing well at the minute, and I completely agree. I think he's one of Eddie's love childs, and basically he wants him to play every game. But I don't think Eddie's playing him at his best position. I think his best position is how Tuchel's playing him for England. And I think
Okay.
if we're seeing him like that, he would be a lot better for Newcastle.
Well, like Queenie said, you talk about the favourite. A real manager that doesn't have favourites, because play your favourites all the time. They will never get rotation, which is what the club is crying out for. Okay.
Real talk, real talk.
100%.
Brant said, as a coach, he's hit his ceiling. Brant, I hope
100%.
you slapped a like for that in the thing. We got Irish Assassin. The issue with Eddie out right now is we have to look at the fact that he doesn't have Vissa, Hall, and Tino right now. Eddie should have not played the Brazil boys from the start. They needed to rest.
But
Interesting.
how long does he need to learn? You know, this is the thing. We've been saying this narrative for a long time. So
Okay, Smokey's Neats, not a bad coach. It's just levels and being able to bring the right players in.
yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
And then Creedy said, how many seasons does Howe need before even players go or do an ESAC? And like Jeff said, we were in danger. If we don't qualify for the Champions League, players will start looking. You'll start the longer that the contract negotiations go on for Botman and Tonali, then you start to worry. Are they going to stay? Are their heads in the right place? You know what I mean? They'll be looking elsewhere because they won't be short of suitors. So it is what it is.
You know what the thing is? Just real quick, a point there. Oh, big up Ralph. Long time, long time. That's my boy in the chat. Yeah. The thing is, football is an education, right? So you need a new teacher sometimes to teach you new things. And it seems to me that Eddie hasn't learned anything new to then introduce in the preseason. We're playing exactly the same way. So, like, even if you like the person, I think subconsciously you start to back off because there's only so much you can tell people. Run hard for me, guys. Give it as much energy as you can. What else? And I think because Eddie is the perfect statesman, he speaks well in press conferences. He's a nice guy. He was Moses who delivered us to the promised land. He's getting a lot of this extra time. British managers are crap. Let's be real. I'm talking about at the top level. They are. They are.
Woo!
Tell me like a winner, a real winner. Like since the likes of Sir Bobby, Sir Alex. Where the real winners here?
Hey, Harvey, chill out, man. D-Man saying give him 4 seasons because he wants Palace to get top 5. Listen, I am fuming that I missed the 3-3 draw yesterday. Yeah, big up my brethren because it was his birthday, but I knew I was going to miss a thriller. I just knew it. Yeah, 3-3, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Michael said, "How gets Newcastle? This club has crushed managers in the past. Who is better and available at this moment in time that could handle this club?" Michael, what do you think about the Mancini shout? That's what Jefferson's been screaming out for. What's your thoughts about that? Brant said, "We're 5 points off fifth, not fourth. What we are missing is when we drop points to bottom and mid-table teams, you have to make that point lost somewhere else. This means we have to beat teams above, which is true."
And just to add to that, I have a stat that Dom shared with me, which I think he got from True Faith. And it says that we've only won 2 away games in 21 against the top 8 teams since Eddie Howe was in charge.
Say that again, sorry?
So we've only won 2 away games in 21. I think this is just the Premier League against top 8 teams since Eddie Howe's been in charge.
Whew, that is a damning stat. Stat, should I say? Okay, so Steve said it could go either way over the next month, I suppose. But I get the feeling we're seeing the beginning of the end of his reign. We're 4 points off 18th and 6th or 4th, I believe. So, question to the chat. Big up, Big Ginks in the building. Question to the chat. Realistically, I just want to know, yes or no, does Eddie Howe last the season? Yes or no? Not whether you want him to. Do you think he will last the season? Yes or no? Just put put a yes or no in the chat, and we'll see what people say. Because it'll be good to test the temperature in there. Harmy said it's not 250 million spent; it's 700 million spent. But the 700 million has been spent effectively, no? Up until this point, give it a 250 now because we don't know. But say that whatever it is,
But
you know
you
what I mean?
said, but D-man, you said we don't have the squad that other teams have.
We
So then,
don't.
so then you can't then say it's been well spent.
No, but from where we were, you talking about from the takeover, no?
Yeah, and
So it's got two.
that's when Eddie came in. Steve
Yes.
Bruce didn't spend any
No,
takeover
what I'm
money.
saying. So that money that he spent, he's got 2 Champions League places. From where we were fighting relegation, he's got 2 Champions League. First of all, safety,
Yeah.
then a cup final, 2 Champions League finishes, and a cup. So that's
But
700 million.
you said we don't have a squad to compete with the top teams, though.
No, I said our squad is not as good as the other teams because I guarantee they spent more than us. I guarantee they spent more
So
than us.
nearly $750 million is not good enough to compete.
We're a squad that spent 2 billion. No, it's not. No, it's
So
not.
you're telling me we can't be wise in terms of the way that we spend our money?
No, but we
Because
have
you have to criticize him on
No,
that.
yeah,
He's wasted 55 million on Elanga,
but what I'm saying
45
is,
million on Ramsey.
like I said, we'll the 250 off this. We'd have to judge, yeah. But you're telling me up until then we spent irresponsibly. No, we haven't, bruv.
I think the first team's been good, but I think the squad,
no, what I'm saying, but every buy that we bought, bar Target and up until now, I'm not talking about this season, bar Target, they've all succeeded, no?
Yeah, I'd say
No,
so.
it's been well spent, given to what we've done. Would you have thought in the time that we spent? I'm not saying, listen, forget whether you want him out now, but would you have thought when the time we got the takeover when he came in, we'd have 2 Champions League finishes, a cup, and 2 cup finals? Would you have thought that?
Can I answer that one? In regards to this, I completely agree with what you're saying there. What Eddie has done has been absolutely brilliant for this club.
Yeah.
They're getting more Champions League, winning the Club Cup. He's overachieved completely. But there does become a point where you have to turn around and say,
I agree.
He's not good enough to get to the next level.
No, and I agree. Maybe he's not good enough, and you're right. He's not giving left to that next level. What I'm saying is, up until now, because Jefferson said we spent irresponsibly. I'm saying up until now, we haven't. We spent wisely because
I'm not saying that. I'm just putting the words you said back into play.
But you're not listening to what I've said, because I've said those other teams we can't compete with the likes of Chelsea, City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. They've outspent us in that period. We haven't got the better squad than those 4. I'm saying 5th is a realistic expectation. What's hard to understand about that?
But D-Man is part of that as well, not that we haven't got as good a manager as some of them clubs have got.
No, and you have to factor that in as well. But then again, some of them are questionable. Arteta and Maresca, whatever. Slot won titles, whatever. Pep, no one can't compete to Pep. So it is what it is. But I get what you're saying.
But even Maresca's come through and arguably done better than Eddie.
And they still want him out. But that's another story.
And remember, he's bringing in youth. Like I saw that, what's his name, Josh Achimpong.
Yeah, but when you spend 600 million on youth, you're expected to bring through youth. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
So again, when you're playing politics and getting rid of a director of football that could improve that, why aren't we putting the heat back on him?
I'm not saying Eddie's blameless.
We're forgetting stuff here.
But Jefferson, what you seem to misunderstand is that just because I'm not saying I want him out now, doesn't mean I'm this Eddie Howe fanboy. It's not. Yeah, I'm not. But what I'm saying is you have to put some context in it. Again, all I'm saying with the money spent, we've done well. That's all I've said, right? And also the squad. All I've said is the squad, the people above us, the top 4, the big 4, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. They have better squad than us. They spent more money than us. They are expected to finish above us. That's all I've said. And we should. Yeah, but I said fifth is the expectation. I don't think that's too outlandish. You know what I mean?
No, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I see some more. Ralph's asking if you still kick ball. I believe you do, innit? You do. You still kick ball.
Just about.
So Adrian said, I don't see anyone at board level with the ruthlessness to replace Howe.
That is a quick question for you. Who is it actually at the club that would sack Eddie Howe? Is it the director of football? Is it the chief executive officer? Or is it PIF?
They're soft on him. That's what I think.
I don't know who.
But who is actually Eddie Howe's boss? Is the huge question.
I don't know who makes those decisions. Normally, when a manager gets sacked, who makes that decision? It's normally the owner, no? Like Mariaka's sacking.
Meant to be the director of football, isn't it?
I would have said director of football.
Yeah.
or the decision's made at board level, then they kind of feed it down, and then the
Yeah.
DOF is the guy to say you're
to
sacked,
deliver the
mate.
bad news.
Yeah, which is weird, seeing as they've got Eddie to help select Russ Wilson. So is that going to happen? I don't think so.
Eddie,
Harvey,
cheers for the job. My name's Ross and you're gone now.
Harvey, you said what about Lloyd Kelly? That didn't work. Osula, but yeah. To be fair, Lloyd Kelly, we got him
And
for free.
Anthony Gordon,
We got him
I
for
don't
free.
think, bar that one season he's had, Gordon's been a bit of a flop, if you ask me as well.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Anthony Gordon, like, does he need to be sold? Does Gordon need to be sold?
If I could have Minte, I'd have Minte over him.
If you can get £70 million for Gordon now, I would snap the hands off.
Wow.
How much?
70 million.
No one's paying 70 million for Anthony
Exactly,
Gordon.
but exactly that was the rumor. Liverpool were willing to pay for him at the end of that season when he had the great season.
Yeah, when he had but now look at he stunk at the place last season, and then this season he's been even worse. So it's just like how much we'd be lucky to break even on that at the moment. The way we're going.
Hopefully, somebody's not watching one just
See,
see
Irish Assassin mentioned Kudus, and I mentioned it. I don't know if you're watching the last episode, Irish Assassin. I literally mentioned that example. I said Kudus was signed for actually more money, 60 million, and he's had more of an impact. So he's Premier League ready. So is Ilanga. So let's not make excuses for the boy. I think Kudus has got, was it 5 goal
We
contributions?
stop making excuses for Lango. Like we're not even talking about him today.
He's finished now. He's finished.
But listen, let's talk about T-Man moving like Robbie from AFTV for the club. Let's talk about, because Brad said, look, it's Benfica, Fulham, then Spurs, right?
Someone's got to stay sane, isn't they? To be fair, like he's keeping the madness at bay. So we'll allow D-Man. He's doing a good job.
We've got Benfica, Fulham, and Spurs. I'm going to 2 of those games actually. I look forward to it. But let's talk about Benfica then before we go. Obviously, Champions League at home. Jose Mourinho's coming back to St. James's Park. We know the connections there with Bobby Robson and stuff like that.
Your friend, did he do, man?
Oh, listen. If he beats us, sack Eddie Howe then and there.
Can you imagine him running down the touchline
I cannot stand that, brother. Cannot stand him. Yeah, the fact that people had to cheat to compare him to Pep Guardiola, BA. But anyway, it's another story. Anyway, Bulky, what's your thoughts on the game itself, and what you're expecting in terms of the lineup, the performance, the prediction? What's your thoughts?
I think he will actually change the team around a little bit for this one. I hope he changes the team a little bit around for this one to freshen it up a little bit. In regards to it, I think we'll always stand a massive chance at home in the Champions League, simply down to the fact the way the crowd get G'd up for it, to under floodlights. It's sort of, all the war flags, the build up to it. So I think it could be again what you don't want to be is another false dawn. So you don't want going into it winning it, and then everybody being able to just say, "Oh, this season's brilliant now. Look at what we've done in the Champions League." So I think it's one of those games where I expect we to win, but I've expected to win quite a few games this season that we haven't. So.
Okay, just a quick one. I see NUFC2 asked me a question. Said, are you going to allow our top players to leave when we don't get Europe? Because Tonali will leave. Like I said, I expect us to get. Well, I think fifth should be an expectation. If we don't, then obviously he needs to go. And if like just said, if it's not working up until Christmas, then he needs to go. But I still believe Tonali leaves regardless. That's just my opinion. I think he goes. I think he goes at the end of the season. I'd be very surprised if he stays. But that's just me. That's just me. Jefferson, what's your thoughts on the Benfica game?
You know what, right? I'll be lying if I said I knew their starting lineup, I knew their players. But there's a few that I know that I've heard of. If Steve is watching, Pavlidis obviously could be a potential threat. I know he wanted us to sign him in the summer. But there's also some familiar players. Antonio Silva, we've been linked to forever and a day. And players like that. Listen, we know that Jose knows how to set up a team, and he can set up for a 1-0 win. He can do that. And we know that we'll get frustrated if we're not at them in the first 15, 20 minutes and they block us out, turn off the heat, and then can hit us on the counter, because I think counter-attack has been our weakness for quite a while. So I do worry about how Jose is going to set them up. and he's very intelligent. And really, when we're looking at tactics, we're not really probably going to be able to compete with him on that level. So I think it will be a situation where we will make chances, no doubt about that, but we will have to take them. We'll have to be clinical, a snatch and grab, so to speak.
Big up DB NUFC TV, NUFC 1983 said, how is one man scoring the goals for us? We are washed at the moment, which, yeah, we are struggling for goals. And the game on Tuesday, listen, I think it's a must win for us. If we're going to make way in this Champions League group stage, these are the games we need to be winning. Benfica, listen, all jokes aside, Jose's a good manager in it. But this at home, we should be expecting, think we should expect it to win the game and score a couple goals at least. Yeah. But I do expect Jose Riza to part the biggest bus that you've ever seen and try to hit us on a break. And if he gets goals 1-0 up, Jesus Christ, it's going to be a long evening. Going to be a very long evening. But I'm confident. I think Eddie will make the changes. I think the likes of Murphy will start. I'll be interested to see what he does on the other side, whether he gives Barnes a run out. I just don't. I think, with his favouritism, his Achilles heel, and his love for Anthony Gordon, I think Gordon will start. My worry again is Dan Burn at left back. I think he will get skinned. You know what I mean? So we're going to have to be on job, and that midfield's got to turn up. But I also don't think Eddie's got the balls to drop Joe Linton. I think he's going to start with. I'd like to see Ramsey get a goal, but I just don't think, unless Joe Linton's got an injury, I don't see Miley or Ramsey getting a start. Which I'd like to see at least one of them start. But listen, it's going to be a tough game, but I expect us to win. I want us to win, get the 3 points, and move from there. Because if we don't, it could get very toxic. Yeah, because going into Fulham on low on confidence, we know what Fulham do to us last season. We didn't beat them last season at all. You know what I mean? We all know what happened at St James's Park last time. Lose that, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get hella
Music
ugly.
Kante's ears, isn't it?
You know
But
what I
then
mean?
I think Kante wants to lose because he wants Silver out.
I
Kante will
tell
be
you
So
one.
Kante, if you're still here, what would you rather? A win and Silver staying on, or us to beat you and Silver maybe to get the sack?
What 1 point if Eddie puts two keepers on the bench for this game, because he's done it in the other Champions League games. If he does that again, I want him sacked straight away before the game even starts, because you should have a youngster on the bench, not two bloody goalkeepers.
true.
I honestly feel you see these next three games, and this is me being serious now because I think I had originally tried to be fair and give Eddie until November and to give him 12 games, particularly. I think he needs two wins out of those three games. And I think if he doesn't, I don't think it's out of the question to sack him. I think that's fair in my opinion.
No, fair
Because,
enough.
because unfortunately the trajectory started the back end of last season, and then we've had an awful preseason where we couldn't even win a game, and then it's really continued into the start of this season. So I think that's fair.
Do you think? I know you said that the board, they're not ruthless enough to sack him or whatever, but do you think they're putting the feelers out at the moment to see like who's available just in case, like a just in case scenario? Or do you think, given the fact that we've taken the time to employ this Ross Wilson guy, who is obviously Eddie's pick, that they're not even thinking about that right about now? What's your thought?
They done it before, didn't they, Boki? With they had the talks with Mourinho. There was the leaks that came out about the talks with Inzaghi as well. Um, but the biggest indicator for me was Mitchell being dismissed. Kind of showed who has who
We
rules
all
the
know about
roost.
that meeting. We all
So
know about that meeting.
so yeah, I think PIF are either trying to play 3D chess where they know potentially the coach, they know where the trajectory is going, but they want to keep the fans on side and just let things play out. So they're doing everything according to how potentially Eddie wants it, and then there's no excuses at the end of at the end of the day, or they're really inexperienced and they're just like, you know what, we're just gonna go with this and see what happens.
Okay.
I think with the Eddie situation, it'll be a big point at how well the club's being run if he does get sacked, and how quickly they get a new manager in. Because if as you see, if we're a big club now, we should have progression strategy in place. So we should have a list of managers that we're going to, and we say straight away, we want you, we want you, or we want you. Whereas if it takes as long as it did to get Eddie, it just shows that we're still not being run
Well,
Is a top level Premier League club?
you never know. They could be putting the feelers out for the next international break. If things don't go our way, like Jefferson says, then you never know. You
Yep.
never know. Next international break, he could be gone, and the next one could be coming in, and give him time for in January to get some players in of his own.
And
You
if
never
you've got
know.
the likes of Mancini available, so Phil's asking, who there is seriously. I mean, we talked about earlier, Mancini is levels and leagues above Eddie Howe.
Maybe the fact
They,
that
they,
Forest were linked to him might put the club on red alert. Say, you know what?
100%. You
You never
can't let
know.
a manager like that go free and potentially go to another club in the league that might strengthen them. Like, imagine if he had gone to Forest. Forest finished, was it sixth last season or seventh? I can't remember now.
So,
Seventh, I think.
yeah.
That strengthens arguably a rival in that little pack. If you're looking at Premier League proven Iraola, because let's be real as well, the brand of football we're playing at the moment ain't the best. I think people would be. I think that's fair comment.
Yeah.
Iraola would improve our football as
Yeah.
well.
Let me
But
get through some of these.
as well as if we're a big club, you've got to have the balls as well. Not necessarily to go with a manager who's free. Go in with a manager who's already at a club.
Slap the money on the table and say, listen,
Yeah, and slap the money on the table and say, look, you're who we want.
yeah.
We're going to take you basically because we're a big club.
Let me go through some of these comments before we get out of here. But Abba said if everyone's back and available, we will stink, and we still stink. He needs to go then for sure. What did Mikey P say? He said both of you are right, but how does have the habit into turn our form around? But how long can this go on for? Interesting. Kante, Eddie and Marco are the exact same. Both managers need to go. Yeah, listen. D-Man said we needed another left back in the summer, and he was overlooked. He was right. Yeah,
Wow,
agreed.
we've got an avid watcher of the
Yeah,
show.
big up DB NUFC. Big
Big
up. Yeah. Apparently, his name
Yeah,
is.
it's you, bro.
He's got the same name as me.
He's you from.
He's got dreads as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
big up.
he's multiverse
Yeah,
D man.
similar year of birth as well. Big up, man. Big up the UFC. Yeah, we need to come at some point. We need to chat, man. We need to chat. But Smokey D said, "How will always be respected by myself, but like I said, this season is it interesting." Kim Camp, Eddie Howe is still there because he covers the cracks of the PIF. You would say he's a yes man. Is that what you're saying, Kim Camp? Yeah, is that what you're saying? Brad said, if we moved Howe, we should have already done our due diligence. Someone like Mancini, De Zerbi, why not push for Fabregas?
Fabregas or De Zerbi would excite me.
Interesting.
I know Fabregas would be risky, but he's doing really good work at Como. De Zerbi, I'm not sure if he'll move because apparently he's quite happy at Marseille now.
Yeah, he's doing what? Yeah. Adrian said, if we want to keep Sandro, get Gattuso lined up. Interesting. Don't want that nothing in my club. Yeah, don't want that nothing in my club.
Can you imagine him riling up Joe Linton and Bruno?
Bruv.
They'll be getting
Red card City, bruv. You see how Chelsea get red cards every game? We're gonna double that.
Adrian's sadistic. He loves it.
Irish Assassin said, I read that Eddie went nuts after the game, but for me, it's like Eddie going nuts doesn't sound the same like a saying Conte or Mourinho going nuts. It's just true, because if Eddie goes nuts in the change room, like, them man are looking at him like, is it? Really? Okay, cool. What time am I starting next game? You know what I mean? It is what it is. Sebastian Holness is a good shout too.
Was he the Stuttgart manager then? He's the one.
I'm not sure actually. I don't know.
Where's all the football buffs when you need them? They're normally in the chat. Does anyone know who he managed?
Speaking of the chat, there's 48 of people in there. Hope you've slapped a like on the chat as well.
Like people.
Yeah. Tell a friend about 90's. If you agree what we say. Well, if you agree with me, if you agree with Jefferson, both has been a bit neutral, but you know what I mean? Let us know, man. Let us know. Steve said, Howe also benefited from a wave of positivity post takeover and a huge amount of money. Newcastle results didn't improve until the first transfer window. Interesting. DVFC, we wasted 110 million this summer. Elanga and Vissa. Elanga, I'll give you. Vissa, listen, let's see what he does when he starts playing. Yeah, that's what we're going to say. Let's see what he does when we start playing. But at the moment, we've got the best striker in the league, bar Haaland. That's what I'm going to say. But is it? Wait, what do you mean London's a dump? Kenny, relax.
Come on, mate.
Relax,
Come on, mate.
I don't know what part of London you went to, man, but relax, man. London's beautiful. Full of mugging, stabbings, and beautiful scenery. Don't worry, man. It's all good. Yeah. Harmeet said, "G-man, we are Newcastle United. Of course they would come, but it's the manager. He hasn't got no pull."
Real talk.
Jefferson, is that you?
100%.
Are you Harvey? Are you Harvey in disguise?
Dead ringer, you know. Boy.
Smokey's niece said, "The window done it for me. Steve reeling from it reminds me of when we bought Solanke, which ended up playing a part in his downfall at Bournemouth." I thought about Eddie Howe. Interesting. And he showed Jordan Ibe in it. He showed Jordan Ibe in it.
Jordan Ibe as well. Lee
Yeah.
Smoothset. There was a few in there.
Connor, there's always, we are 5 points off the bottom three, which I said, listen, we're a few points off relegation and that.
Connor's like Kelvin, you know when they just boom, they just put it there in it, like there you go.
Well, there's a question to you there. Okay, we know I think that we should be aiming for fifth, right? Jeff said you said fourth in that. Bulky, what's the lowest you think we could possibly finish it under Eddie Howe this season, realistically?
At the minute,
Yeah.
probably 10th.
Okay.
I think people keep saying this, that we're only 5 points off this, but it takes a hell of a lot in the Premier League to make up 5 points. I think people forget that. I think at the minute the lowest we'll probably finish is around 10th, but realistically that's not good enough. That is not good enough for where we should be finishing. I mean, I've said 5th, and I think we'll all say that, but realistically, as long as he gets Europe, he's going to keep his job.
Do you think so?
Yeah. I think if he gets either the other 2 European spots, he'll keep his job. But that's not good enough for me. But I don't think they would sack him based on the fact that what credit he's got in the bank. I think if he finishes any lower than that, then he has to go.
Time. That's all we're doing.
Okay.
We are.
Time.
We're treading water,
And we're gonna regret it in the long run, you know. Sometimes you just have to be aggressive. Like we're not here to be friends. Football, unfortunately, I know it's really sad to say, but it's a business now, and you have to succeed. If you as a manager of someone and they weren't hitting their targets, you can't say, "I'll give you some time." How many times can you say that to someone? They've got to get sacked eventually. I
Okay.
don't understand the sentiment. And we also got to stop looking into the past. You're only as good as your last game. Like, we got to look forward, not back. That's how all the other top clubs are operating. There's no room for sentiment here.
Like Connor says, Spurs fan booing after a loss today, and they are
Yeah.
sixth. We clap the players off after another loss, and we are first.
It's
I will say,
mentality.
I agree with it. The mentality, like, it worked. We're a positive bunch, but at the same time, sometimes we're a bit overly positive. We have to call out, things when we see it. We have to criticize when we see it. And as a fan base, I think we're too nice. I think.
But I think part of the problem is as well as the press up here now. Everybody's so much behind Eddie Howe. And
yeah,
don't get us wrong, it's
Because
great.
he's British. Because he's British.
But it's that plus. Don't get us wrong, it's great to have positive press, but there's none of them calling them out. I mean, Craig Hope under Steve Bruce used to be in there every week, just about trying to rip them a new backside, basically. But now it's just all sort of so positive, and if you do even criticise him, it's sort of Eddie Howe's brilliant, but this is what's going wrong, sort of thing. There's never just full out criticism on him.
just to bring some balance into it. Big up Stephen in the building. Always here to support Eddie at the Eddie Howe crusade. He said, "So mutiny and critical injuries are not taken into consideration. Bad luck on our part to some extent with our fullbacks and Vissa return back, and with our fullbacks back and Vissa return. Judge Eddie Howe then." What do you
Where
reckon?
was the mutiny? The only mutiny came from Eddie Howe. He's
Or
the
would
one
you-
that ousted Mitchell. He's the one that was playing the games.
So, what do you think about his point about judging when we get a fully fit squad? What do you reckon about that then?
I just think it's dangerous territory to be like, oh, the cavalry will arrive. I remember we used to jump on Alan Pardew's back for that kind of thing. We used to say all Pardew used to do is moan about the players that are injured. But if Eddie's such a good coach that people keep saying, on the training pitch, we need to be seeing like new patterns of play. Why isn't he promoting academy players? You know?
Okay, what about this then? Phil F said, big up Phil, he said, football can change very quickly. People were saying Liverpool would win everything a month ago. 4 defeats in a row now. We have been unlucky a few times with injuries already. That's been disruptive. So,
but I think that's part of the problem as well, D-Man, that everybody seems to deflect from what the core issue is. And the core issue at the minute is Eddie and his tactics and his team selection during games and his in-game management. And as soon as you start doing that, people deflect off onto completely different tangents instead of focusing on the point that we've had a terrible start of the season, we had a terrible end to last season, pre-season was a disaster, and the people keep saying the other deflection is, oh, we'll go on a run because we've done it in the past. I see absolutely no evidence that we're going to go on some sort of super run winning games.
Okay. Kenny said,
Facts.
why is Jones not getting any blame as the coach?
Jones,
Is
as
that
in
is that Graham Jones?
Graham Jones.
Graham
You know
Jones.
what? Interesting point. I like that point actually. What I would say is I think Eddie could take lessons from Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson, I think, have 4 different assistant managers in his time. Very, very clever because he knows that he's got shortcomings in the tactical area. So every now and again, you have to refresh, you have to renew. So maybe Jason Tyndall is part of the problem because he's run out of ideas. We can't expect the manager to have all the ideas. Who's Eddie going to lean on when he needs help? Do you see what I'm
Interesting.
saying?
Yeah.
And it's not just about having your friend there. Because remember, Sir Alex Ferguson, I think he had Steve McLaren, Brian Kidd, Carlos Quiroz, Rene Mullenstein, and I think it was the bald guy. I forgot his name.
We even look at if you look at Pep refreshes his assistants
Yeah,
every you know what I mean?
he's had
They,
Arteta. He's had
yeah,
Pep Linders now. He
yeah,
had was it Maresca? He had for a bit as well.
yeah. He's had a few.
So
So
that's a good question. I think there's something in that. Maybe we would know if Eddie's like, I need to add to the coaching staff because Graham Jones, third choice coach or whatever he is, he's not really doing very much, is he?
okay. Um, so Irish says that on the WhatsApp, I showed Newcastle playing 3-5-1 back in the day. We cook teams, free flowing football. Eddie needs to open up and try something new. If it doesn't work, I'm not mad at him for trying. I think you touched on that, Eddie Jefferson, as well.
Mm.
Kenny says back the team and the manager. Okay, interesting. And then Steve, I think he said
Newcastle United FC, right? Checking.
yes, he has a director that will be around him in terms of Eddie Howe, Big Ink said. Steve but said next Christmas I think he'll be gone if this continues. Next Christmas or this Christmas? You're talking about this Christmas coming? You must mean this Christmas coming. Yeah? You think he'll be gone. And like I said, if it continues like this till Christmas, he will go. There's no way they've got
Can I
there's
just
no
add
way.
in something as well? The reason why it's I feel a bit bad in kind of pushing the narrative, but the time is crucial because as you've seen, it can take a while to interview people, nail a replacement down, get them in. Then they have to assess the squad, see who they want, see who they don't want, and then they would need a fair opportunity in the January window to then bring their players in. If they don't get that, then it will be tricky for them to kind of reach expected levels. So that's why I'm like, if it happens, it has to be latest December.
I just want to address this comment from Sapir. He said, typical Eddie hating. Sapir, if you tuned in about half an hour ago, there was a big debate between me and Jefferson, and it wasn't all one-sided. So go back and watch some of it, and then come back with your comment. Yeah, big up for joining
And watch
anyway.
the rest of the catalogue as well.
Yeah, while you're at here.
Give us some likes.
And then Phil, we've already talked about this one as well. Who is actually available to replace the manager? Seriously, we've had a couple of suggestions. Mancini being the favourite amongst people, but
What do you think, man,
he does.
about Cesc Fabregas? Do you think that's a bit of a wild one? Would you? What do you think about that risk?
I don't know, man. I'd like to see him at another club first before I can really judge him. I know what's the name of the team that he's at?
Como.
Como, yeah.
They beat Juventus this
Yeah,
weekend.
I don't think he's a very intelligent guy, and he'll bring fresh ideas. But is the kind of job for him right now? I'm not so sure. If you want to, level up, is that the risk that we want to take at the moment? I'm not so sure.
And one more, being a Barca man, what would you think of Xavi? Do you think Xavi would do a better job?
Listen, I love Barca from back in the day, and I love Xavi in that, but I don't know if he's ready for the Prem. I really don't know, man. I don't know. Kenny said,
I thought I'd lean into that one a little bit.
Angie's free. Listen, yeah, because I know Jefferson, you was rating Ange above Eddie Howe. Would you take him now over Eddie?
Well, look.
No, bruv. It's just a straight no.
Hold on. I saw his interview. I kind of felt sorry for him a little bit. I don't know if anyone watched it, but he got
Jefferson,
5th place and a
I don't give
Europa
a
League.
damn. I don't care. You're gonna
So,
take this.
what is Europa League not bigger than the League Cup?
I'm not saying that, but are you taking him over Eddie Howe now?
Continental trophy.
Are you taking him over Eddie Howe now? The brother took Spurs to 17th or 16th, whatever it
But
was.
he won the Europa League.
So would you be happy with that then? Winning Europa
I
League
would like to win the Europa League. That would be nice.
by now, in order to get that, we'd have to qualify for the Europa League. But you want Champions League
Which
football,
he
so
did. So you have to give him credit
but
for
you
that.
want Champions League football. You want Champions League football.
And where did we get? How did we do in the Champions League?
No, but you want to qualify for FIFA. You don't. But he's finishing like 12th and 13th, 16th for it was. Bulky, would you take Andrew or Eddie?
I think Jefferson's credit points are dropping massively.
Yeah, I'm saying.
This conversation.
I
In fact,
didn't
I
say yes,
just
by the
crashed
way.
through the floor.
I didn't say yes. I didn't say yes.
I can answer this. Yep, I can answer this in one word. No.
No,
Right.
I wouldn't. I didn't say yes. Just to clarify that, I didn't say yes.
That's like I said. People
being
wanting Eddie
naughty.
gone. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Bro,
Stephen.
but I still don't get this. He's not an elite manager. Be thanks for the memories.
Listen, it's always going to divide opinion. It's going to divide opinion. Big up Ginger said, Demon, how comes every other team questions our manager, fans, or being big teams have asked why How don't get called out? Listen, I'm not going to not criticize him, should I say. I will criticize Eddie when I think it's due in it. And listen, right about now, he's not pulling up trees, yeah? What I'm saying is, if it continues, he has to go. I'm talking about up to Christmas. If this form continues up to Christmas, he has to go. But I'm saying that he's got enough credit in the bank, I believe, for me to believe that he will turn it around this season. Yeah. And either way, he's more likely to last the season than not. Yeah. Whether it's my decision, whether it's my want, whatever, I think he's more likely to last the season than not. But call him out when he needs to be called out. And right about now, he needs to be called out because he's not doing things correctly. And I'm not running away from that. Don't get me wrong. Last season, I was almost a bigger Eddie Howe fan as Jefferson. I don't think anyone will top that level, but I was almost there at it. Yeah, I was at that level, but he proved me wrong. That's why I'm trying to give him a bit of grace. Yeah, to see where things go. I just don't think he should be sacked this very moment. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he should be sacked this very moment, and I think that's.
I think part of it, D-Man, is there's not. Jefferson's obviously very much for to get rid of him, but I think the big problem is you can't even criticise him at the minute with a lot of fans.
Yeah, there's no balance. There's no balance. Either one or the other. Yeah,
it's a cult. It's worrying.
Yeah,
I worry about people. Like you think there is cousin, or his uncle or something.
But the thing is, but what I will say, is that yes, there are a lot of people that Eddie Howe can do no wrong. Yeah, but I also think a lot of people think that you are so far the other side, he can do no right. Yeah, so there's balance. I think I'm in the middle. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Yeah,
I just want exciting football. I'm just fed up, man.
What about this comment?
It feels like we're stagnating.
What about this? If he was called Eduardo Halchini, you'd have him.
Sounds more appetizing. I like exotic things. What can I say? What about you, Sapare? Do you like bread and butter? Or you like a little bit of, you know what I mean?
Listen,
bit of Marmite on there.
Ginger said, D-Man, going out the cup to Spurs, see how the fans are there. Listen, I'm taking my son up to that game. Yeah. So if we lose that game, you'll see me on the pitch, bruv. I'll be writing. Yeah?
You got this on record.
Do not choose that game to mess up the flow, please. And listen, don't make me make that long journey with my son. Yeah, my 6-year-old son to see us lose. Yeah, it's bad enough me taking up to the friendly against Atletico, and we lost that friendly. Nah, this one, no, thank you. Terracid says, write it down. We'll be in the Champions League next season. This is coming from an Eddie Out fan.
Wow,
interesting.
Is that on the basis that Eddie gets us there, or is it a new manager that comes in and gets us there?
I think it's on the basis that Eddie gets sacked this week and tune straight in.
Make sure what's up with you, lot. D-Man Jefferson Bulkmaster General, tremendous. Big up Jefferson. Big up Benjamin.
Big up.
Queenie says, I call it constructive criticism. Agreed.
Thank you, Queenie.
Yeah. Big up Big up. We'll call you Will Smith. Big up Will Smith. Yeah, William Smith.
I
Big up
like William.
the
What's
real
good?
Will Smith. The real Will Smith. Big up. Big up.
What's good?
Hope you, Eddie is an average coach. Yeah. Well, listen, it is. Then the problem is last season went on an amazing run. Yeah, listen, it'll be unreasonable to expect that we're going at that same run this time around. But listen, it is what it is. But listen, people, we've gone on for an hour and 40 minutes, longer than expected. Listen, for those in the comments, we appreciate you all. I hope you slapped a like. Tell your friend to tell a friend if you enjoyed what you see. If you don't like what you see, tune in for the next one to see if we've changed our tune. You know what I mean?
Even if you hate me, keep watching us.
Yeah, even if you think I'm delusional, keep watching us, and big up Bulky for joining as well. Pleasure to have you on.
Pokey.
But yeah, man, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back midweek to review the Champions League victory against Benfica. We hope. But yeah, man.
D-Man, you know what Jose is gonna do again, don't you? He's
What?
gonna go to Sir Bobby's statue in it. And he's
Oh,
gonna be like,
I'm a little magpie. I'm a little magpie. Get out of there, man. Get out of there.
Did you know he stops the bus every time he passes it? Just so he can start have a. No, this is serious. The team coach, he stops the team coach so he can have a look at Bobby Robson, to honour Bobby Robson, and then makes him carry on.
Yeah, he wants to park that bus outside St James's Park on the pitch. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. Can you get inside the stadium? Can you get inside? Relax. But anyway, until next time, we're out, people. Peace.
Peace.